Sugar is everywhere. It's in our morning coffee, our afternoon snacks, and even in foods we believe are healthy, like yogurt and salad dressings. While a little sweetness can bring joy, the sheer amount of sugar in our modern diet has created a serious health problem. We often think of sugar as the white crystals we spoon into our tea, but its presence is far more widespread and disguised. Understanding the different types of sugar is the first step toward regaining control over our health. The journey begins with knowing what we are truly putting into our bodies, and the truth can be quite surprising when we start looking closer. We need to make a clear distinction between the sugars found naturally in whole foods and the added or free sugars that manufacturers put into their products. Natural sugars, like those in a whole apple or a carrot, come packaged with fiber, vitamins, and minerals. This fiber is incredibly important because it slows down the absorption of sugar into our bloodstream, preventing the sharp spikes that cause so much trouble for our bodies. This slow release provides a steady stream of energy, which is exactly what our cells need to function optimally throughout the day without the dramatic highs and lows. On the other hand, added sugars are what we should be concerned about. These are the sugars and syrups added to foods and drinks during processing or preparation. Think of the high fructose corn syrup in your soda, the sucrose in your candy bar, or the honey drizzled over your healthy granola bar. These are considered empty calories because they offer no nutritional benefits, no fiber, no vitamins, just a pure, rapid rush of sweetness. This rush overwhelms our system, leading to a cascade of negative effects that accumulate over time, impacting nearly every organ in our body. So how much is too much? Health experts recommend that adults consume no more than 30 grams of free sugars per day, which is about 7 sugar cubes. For children, the limits are even lower. The problem is that most of us are consuming 2 or 3 times this amount without even realizing it. A single can of soda can contain more than the entire recommended daily intake for an adult. This overconsumption isn't a matter of willpower. It's a consequence of a food environment saturated with hidden sugars designed to make us eat more. When you consume a meal or drink high in added sugar, it triggers a dramatic chain reaction inside your body. The sugar is quickly broken down into glucose, which floods your bloodstream. You might feel a quick burst of energy, but this is short-lived. Your pancreas goes into overdrive, releasing a large amount of insulin to move all that glucose out of your blood and into your cells. This process often works too well, causing your blood sugar levels to crash soon after, leaving you feeling tired, irritable, and craving even more sugar. This is the infamous sugar crash, a cycle that keeps you reaching for another sweet fix. Over time, these constant spikes and crashes take a serious toll on your metabolic health. When your body is constantly bombarded with high levels of glucose, your cells can become resistant to the effects of insulin. This condition, known as insulin resistance, is a major precursor to type 2 diabetes. Your pancreas has to work harder and harder to produce enough insulin to manage your blood sugar, and eventually, it may not be able to keep up. This leads to chronically high blood sugar levels, which can cause widespread damage to your nerves, blood vessels, and organs. The harm doesn't stop with diabetes. A high-sugar diet is a leading driver of chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout the body. This inflammation is not the acute kind you see with an injury. It's a silent, persistent state of alert that contributes to a host of diseases. Excess sugar increases the risk of heart disease by raising blood pressure, increasing harmful triglycerides, and promoting the buildup of plaque in your arteries. It also places a tremendous burden on your liver, as the liver is responsible for processing fructose. Too much fructose can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition where fat accumulates in the liver, impairing its function. Furthermore, new research shows a strong connection between high sugar intake and brain health. Diets laden with sugar have been linked to impaired memory, cognitive decline, and an increased risk of developing conditions like depression and anxiety. Sugar promotes the formation of harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, which can damage brain cells and contribute to inflammation in the brain. Essentially, what you eat directly affects how you think and feel, and a diet high in sugar can cloud your mind and mood, making it harder to focus and stay positive. One of the biggest challenges in reducing sugar intake is that it is often hidden where you least expect it. Manufacturers have become masters of disguise, using sugar to improve the taste, texture, and shelf life of their products, even savory ones. You might be shocked to find significant amounts of sugar in your favorite jar of pasta sauce, a loaf of whole wheat bread, or a bottle of ketchup. These foods don't taste overly sweet because the sugar is often balanced with salt and other flavorings, tricking your taste buds while still delivering a substantial glucose spike. Making matters more complicated, sugar hides on ingredient lists under many different names. There are over 60 different names for added sugar, making it incredibly difficult for the average consumer to identify it. You might see words like sucrose, glucose, dextrose, maltose, or high fructose corn syrup, which are more obvious. But it also appears as barley malt, rice syrup, dehydrated cane juice, agave nectar, or molasses. Learning to recognize these aliases is a crucial skill for anyone trying to take charge of their health and make informed choices at the grocery store. The food industry knows that sugar is addictive. When we eat sugar, it activates the reward center in our brain by triggering a release of dopamine, the same feel-good neurotransmitter associated with other pleasurable activities. This creates a powerful cycle of craving and reward that can be very difficult to break. The more sugar you eat, the more your brain craves it, leading to a pattern of consumption that feels less like a choice and more like a compulsion. This biological response is a key reason why simply deciding to eat less sugar often isn't enough. This addictive quality is precisely why sugar is added to so many products. It keeps you coming back for more. Think about breakfast cereals marketed to children, which are often loaded with more sugar per serving than a donut. The goal is to create lifelong consumers by hooking them at a young age. This pervasive and intentional use of sugar in our food supply makes avoiding it a conscious and continuous effort. It requires vigilance, education, and a commitment to understanding what is really in the food you and your family are eating every single day. Reducing your sugar intake might seem like a daunting task, but it doesn't have to be. The key is to start with small, manageable changes that you can sustain over time. The most powerful first step is to become a food label detective. Before you put anything in your shopping cart, turn it over and read the ingredient list. Look for those hidden names for sugar and check the added sugars line on the nutrition facts panel. You will be amazed at how many products you can immediately identify as sources of unnecessary sugar. Another transformative strategy is to prioritize whole foods. This means building your meals around foods that are as close to their natural state as possible: vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and healthy fats. When you eat whole foods, you are not only avoiding added sugars, but also nourishing your body with the fiber, vitamins, and minerals it needs to thrive. Eating fiber-rich vegetables before the rest of your meal can also help slow down the absorption of any glucose that follows, effectively flattening the curve of your blood sugar spike and preventing the subsequent crash. Hydration is also a simple but incredibly effective tool. Often, what we perceive as a sugar craving is actually a sign of thirst. Before reaching for a sweet snack, try drinking a large glass of water and wait a few minutes. You might find that the craving subsides. Swapping sugary drinks like sodas, juices, and sweetened teas for water, sparkling water with a slice of lemon or herbal tea is one of the single best changes you can make to slash your sugar intake and improve your overall health almost instantly. Ultimately, the goal is not to eliminate all sugar from your life forever, but to be mindful and intentional about your consumption. Enjoy a piece of cake on your birthday without guilt, but don't let sugar sneak into your daily diet through processed foods. By making small, consistent changes, like reading labels, eating your veggies first, and staying hydrated, you can break free from the cycle of sugar cravings and crashes. You have the power to protect your long-term health, boost your energy levels, and feel better every single day. Your journey to a healthier you starts with one small change.